Will Gavin and Master Tess Fassian.
And a squad of big-name contributors.
The S Word
from talkSPORT.
Hello and welcome to the S Word, brought to you by talkSPORT, the talkSPORT S Word YouTube channel, with myself, debuting Marcus Speller, and of course the great master Tess Fassian. We are reacting to an amazing night of World Cup football. Portugal do just enough to see off Croatia. There wasn't just 1, 2 or 3, there was 4 disallowed goals in that game. Can you believe? The most in tournament history. We'll also be reacting to Cristiano Ronaldo, who was subbed off, much to his dismay. Spanish football expert, of course, the great Terry Gibson, will be joining us to discuss Spain and how dominant they looked against Austria. And also Michael Lahoud from CBS Golazo will be with us to discuss how tricky it's been for the African sides in the last 32 of this World Cup. Plus, England legend Carl Walker has spoken exclusively to the S Word about England, about the US men's national team, and how tricky Mexico will be in the last 16 for the English. Jam-packed show for you this morning. You're watching the S Word, sponsored by Kalashi. Here we are. Master, good to meet you, my friend. How are you?
Good to meet you as well. Welcome to the S Word, powered by Kalshi. Great to have you on this show, and what a show we have for you to talk about, right?
My goodness, I like the Brazil talk. Is that 2002 vintage?
Come on now. Yeah, come on now.
Hey, there you go.
Come on, the legend, the legend. My goats.
Indeed.
Even though we had a couple goats on the pitch yesterday, unfortunately, and it was one of them. Looks like it could be their last World Cup match ever, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, you say that. I mean, look at Modric, and he's finally starting to look his age. I mean, the man just goes on and on. I was thinking he was a vampire for most of it, but maybe the sun of North America has finally exposed him. It is absolutely incredible. What a game that was, Master. Man. It was I mean, Portugal in the first half looked pretty dominant, but in the second half, Croatia reminded anybody that they are the canniest of canniest opponents in World Cup. What did you make of it all?
I tried to warn people on the show and my friends as well going into this tournament when everyone said, Croatia, it looks like this may be over, this is it. Listen, man, this is going to go down as one of my favorite generations in World Cup play ever, because their play directly embodies the Croatian spirit, the Croatian identity. And every single time you underestimate them, every single time their backs are against the wall, every time you overlook them, they are down to remind you why they should not be overlooked, why they should not be messed with, and why they will more likely be tougher than you, wittier than you, smarter than you. They will always find a way to make your life miserable. And that's what we saw on the pitch against Portugal. They came out and scored out first, and at that point, all bets were off. Our minds were going to a place of, can they do it again? Can they pull it off? And even towards the end, the VAR overturned goal. You're thinking, I got flashbacks to Brazil-Croatia 2022.
Yes.
When you're thinking Neymar's about to have this golden moment and this brilliant moment for Brazil as they advance, and they just snatched the jaws of victory right out of Brazil's mouth. And you thought it was going to happen once again to Portugal, and Cristiano Ronaldo, who had his moment, scored his goal. Roberto Martinez having his moment, subbing off Vitinha, subbing off Bruno Fernandes, subbing off Cristiano Ronaldo, and finding a way to take the lead going into stoppage time. And Croatia was just on the verge of doing that. And it just shows, even if this happens to be Luka's final match and this generation's final moments, that they went out swinging in a way that we can always identify with. They went out representing their Croatian people in a way that I think they can all be proud of. And despite the VAR controversies and frustrations which they have, which I can completely understand, they reminded us once again that Croatian football is an absolute joy and a beauty to watch.
It is. It absolutely is. I mean, they used to say back in the day when it was the former Yugoslavia, the Yugoslavians were the Brazilians of Europe. I think now Croatia, I'd say they're probably the Uruguayans of Europe, maybe, because that never say die attitude is incredible. I mean, 2018 World Cup, they get to the final, of course. 2022, they get to the semi-final and knocking out Brazil, as you say, which reminding ourselves of that was incredible. And even in the Euros, I mean, they went out, I think, in the first round, if my memory serves serves me correctly, 2 years ago. Luka Modric, he scored in the game against Italy where they were knocked out, and everyone thought, that's the last time we'll see you on the international stage. And he had a look in his eyes as if to say, sorry lads, no, I think you'll find I've got a few years left in the tank. But I think even the most ardent Luka Modric fan may finally say that this could be the last time we see him at the World Cup. But yeah, I mean, even Ivan Perisic, another old warhorse of Croatia, got involved in that, got his goal as well. Yeah, incredible game. But Portugal, they march on, and or they limp on, perhaps, depending on how they're feeling after that game. And they set up a tie with their neighbours Spain, who brushed Austria aside. I mean, Master, Spain have, I think it's fair to say, finally turned up in the tournament. Yeah,
they did. Honestly, I think it says more about this Austrian side than it does about Spain. Look, kudos to them, and there's certain people that stepped up that absolutely Spain is going to need if they're going to win this World Cup. One of them being Alex Baena, someone who I was a fan of at Villarreal. He makes a move to Atletico Madrid, and for whatever reason, he had a very disappointing season. As at Atletico Madrid, obviously not being able to win a trophy. But Baena, I've been expecting more from him this year, and I've been expecting more from him in this tournament, considering the injuries that they had to deal with Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams. Another winger is going to have to step up. And we saw that from Alex Baena, finally, in that match against Austria. Some beautiful crosses that he made. He was dynamic. He was electric, creating a ton of chances. The Alex Baena that I remember at Villarreal is the one that I just saw yesterday in Austria. And if Spain is going to make a deep run, if Spain is going to win this World Cup, yes, you've got Lamine Yamal now, playing 90 minutes, seems like he's fit again. Someone else is going to need to step up in the absence of Nico Williams, and it's going to have to be Alex Baena. He has the talent, he has the presence, he has the ability and capabilities to be that dynamic winger for Spain. It's just a matter if he's going to execute and show that within 90 minutes, and this was a good sign. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it was the perfect game for them, really. I mean, Austria weren't really up to much. I mean, they put about 10 to 15 minutes resistance, I think, and I don't know whether it was that period or the entire game. It wasn't much. But I tell you what, Mikel Oyarzabal, he was kind of obviously got 2 goals in the game. Not according to the bookies, but according to some, more of an outside pick for the Golden Boot at this World Cup. He's now got 4 goals. It is a very keenly contested race for that Golden Boot. What did you make of Oyarzabal? Because the way he finished his 2 chances, particularly that second one, that to me was the sign of a guy, a striker, who knows exactly what he's doing, very confident, finished. Yeah, chances that he should score, but just the way he opens the body, beautiful stuff from Oyarzabal, I thought. That's what we've come to expect from him when he's in Spain, and when he's at Real Sociedad, his ability to finish, his ability to be in the box, and having that canny sense for scoring, his touch, his ability, his finesse, his finish. He presents all of those qualities, and when you get the service that he's going to get from Lamine Yamal, and if Alex Baena is going to continue giving that kind of service. Why can't he win Golden Boot? I know he's going up against Mbappe, Haaland, Messi, Harry Kane's in the mix. Some incredible goals that we've seen scored here, some incredible performances from world-class goal scorers. And if Spain makes a deep run, Oyarzabal is absolutely going to be in the mix for Golden Boot. He was tremendous. Spain completely dominated that match. But going up against Portugal in Dallas, and I want to go back to this Portugal-Croatia match because there's still a lot more meat on this bone to discuss. And
there certainly is.
As you talked about, 4 disallowed goals.
Yeah.
We have to touch on that final VAR decision.
Yeah. 3 of them I think we can all get on board with. Okay, offside, as annoying as it is,
yes.
You have to draw the. It's like the speed limit. You got to draw the line somewhere. Sorry, pal, you were doing 31 in a 30-mile-an-hour zone. That's annoying. You've broken the speed limit, right? If you're a toe offside, you're a toe offside. It's frustrating. But that last goal, Master, the way it's adjudged to have come off the Croatia player's head. I forget who it was, and therefore it was given as offside. They have to use the chip technology in the ball to determine whether there was a sound made. Now, I don't. What side of the line do you come to? There is the sort of the more binary side of it. You know, the actual the law itself. The guy touched the ball, therefore it's offside. End of chat. Or there's the spirit of the law, of course, where it made no difference to the passage of play. The fact that you have to slow it down and use this technology to determine whether it brushed his hair or not suggests that the goal have stood. Where do you stand on that, Master?
I stand on the same way I do with semi-automatic technology, VAR, for offside. And essentially, yes, the minutia aspect of it, the being able to to get it down to the point where a stroke of the hair can be detected by the sensor that considers it a touch that would determine an offside determination. To me, again, whether you want to debate whether we're getting way too deep in the weeds, I think this shows that technology is working. And the same way we semi-automatic offside, these are things that I think are very objective and are very clear and straight to the point. And you can debate all you want to about whether you saw a touch or not. The sensor went off. And from what we understand based off the technology, that is as clear and obvious of a decision that an official can make. And these kind of assistance through technology, I think, is very much needed and necessary. If you want to debate at that point, then how much of a touch should be considered as a touch, or how much, if a butt cheek is offside, is that, or a fraction of a toe is offside? Is there maybe some more margin of error that we should have for these kind of decisions, considering how exact and how precise this technology has become? I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I'm not. I can understand the arguments and the evidence for that. However, based off what we understand right now, based off the technology that we have right now, and based off the rules and the way that they're governed, I thought that was the right call, and that was a great usage of this sensor technology, making a huge call in a very, very tight moment that clearly obviously determined the outcome of not just only the match, but the fates of two legends hanging in the balance, and Cristiano Ronaldo and Luka Modric, that as great of a performance as that was between these two nations, this technology obviously is going to play a huge role in the way that we remember that match.
Yeah, it certainly is. It certainly is. Whether it's a touch of the hair, or, as you say, in other decisions, toes offside and so on. There's been I don't know how scientific this is, but some are suggesting that England, there's some like I say, I don't know how scientific this is, but somebody was suggesting that one way to deal with the altitude for England against Mexico is that you can take Viagra, apparently. So we may well see other things offside. I don't know. I do not know. Of course, Algeria lost last night as well. So we're going to talk about African teams a bit later. But let's turn our attention to Germany, if we may, Master. The German Football Association has parted ways with Julian Nagelsmann today. That was breaking news a couple of hours ago here. Yeah, he's gone. The man in the baggy trousers and the baggy T-shirt has gone. Presumably, he's going to go back to the sofa and play PlayStation and order pizza, because that's often how he was dressed at this tournament, if I may say. But this is not a sartorial show.
Didn't he get sacked from Bayern Munich? Was it for going on a ski trip during the international break?
Is that what? Yes, I forgot that was. He's a funny one. Well,
so maybe he's got a nice time to take some holiday, doesn't he?
He does. Wait, he can go skiing now, as you're suggesting.
I don't know where he's going to find snow, but he can probably go hit a lake somewhere.
Well, it's not going to be at the World Cup, is it? So Germany are looking for a new manager as of today. How far they're looking today, I don't know. But of course, inevitably, the favourite, the one they want, is Jurgen Klopp. What do you think about that, Master?
If you are a fan of the German national team, today is a great day. and if these rumors are true, and Jurgen Klopp is interested and is going to be set to become the next manager of the German national team, I think your long nightmare is finally over.
You think it's been that bad?
I mean, how could you not? How could you not feel that way?
Fair. Okay.
In 2018, not making it out of the groups. 2022, not making it out of the groups. And 2026, losing to Paraguay in the round of 32.
Yeah, you put it like that.
How could you not feel like it is a state of disaster right now for the German national team? How could you not, as a German fan right now, have any hope in the direction that the German national team is going in? Heck, they're not even going to be with Adidas anymore. It just shows you, like, the sentiment, the identity has been lost within this German national team, and the hope, the discipline, the pragmatic play that we've been accustomed to seeing, the ability to see playmakers stepping up and making huge moments and huge plays. We haven't seen that. We've seen the disappointment from Jamal Musiala. We've seen the disappointment from Leroy Sané. We've been left asking questions about their back line. Like, Manuel Neuer has looked as old as his age shows. There's been so many questions amongst this German national team, and of course, none bigger than Julian Nagelsmann, who's supposed to be this prodigy coach that was supposed to, obviously, all the opportunities that he's had and taking over this job and having an opportunity to once again prove his prowess, and he fell short. Where Jurgen Klopp is a name that everyone in the country can get behind. He's a name that everyone looks at Germany again and can have the same amount of respect that we're accustomed to seeing from Germany. I mean, these performances that we've seen from this World Cup, it's not enough. It's not acceptable. And there's one thing that we know about Jurgen Klopp. He'll be able to motivate these guys. Mm-hmm. He'll make sure that, you know, you're getting people that are working hard in terms of motor intensity, having a set game plan, having tactics that I think every German person can agree with and get behind. This is the rejuvenation that I think German fans and the German national team desperately needed, if in fact it is Jurgen Klopp.
Well, and there you go. So if indeed he wants it, I mean, if you look at Jurgen Klopp on Instagram, he seems to be having a lovely old time. He's playing paddle. He's having it, you know, he's going around. He's talking to the media whenever he wants. He can
still play paddle. Yeah. He just has to work once every 2 months. That's it. It's only 1 week.
True enough. He could follow his own countryman, Jurgen Klinsmann, and move out to California maybe, and he could do the job from there.
There you go.
You know,
come on out here, Jurgen. Come on out to LA. Have a great time.
Yeah,
you know, you can enjoy the sun. You can get away from the German winters. Come out here in the sun. You go over there during the international breaks, handle your business you need to, and you can work around. But Jurgen, I mean, obviously he's still, you know, he has, you know, places in Germany. He's still well respected, well regarded. Like I think this is about as perfect of a fit as you could ask for a national team.
But the way he can galvanise people, as you say, you saw wherever he's gone. Jurgen Klopp he's I mean, he often talks about his Christian faith, doesn't he? He's almost like a priest, the way he gets everybody encapsulated, the way he conducts the crowd. It is incredible what Jurgen Klopp can do. And right now, his country needs him. There's no two ways about that, as you were saying. He is the man for the job. I know it's a different job to club football, you know, international management, and he's never done it. But as you say, you know, when you put it out there, all the facts about German football, you see, I'm old enough to remember the Germans when they won the 1990 World Cup. And the history of German football was always, no matter who they've got on their team, no matter who they're playing, no matter what the occasion, they will find a way. The old expression here, you can never count out the Germans. You can't do it. And anybody who tried to back in the day with even the 1998 World Cup, if you go back then, they're a bit old, they still get to a quarter-final. Do you know what I mean? No right to do that. You can never count the Germans out. Well, that expression has not been relevant for a number of years now, and it's getting ridiculous because, as you say, played Paraguay, okay, they should have had a second goal, but there we are, it was chalked off. For them to lose a penalty shootout as well, I mean, that is absolutely unheard of. So that was sure.
Where's the mentality? Where's the mindset when you're losing in penalties to Paraguay? Well, you talk about the pragmatism. Yeah. You talk about they will always find a way. That has not been what we have seen from Germany these last 3 World Cups. If anything, they have found a way to lose.
Yeah, well, exactly.
That is more of anything that we've seen. We have found this German side, and we have been accustomed to thinking perception-wise. Yeah. We've gone away from the fact that the Germans will find a way, and we assume that sentence always ended, they will find a way to win, and now they will find a way, but they will find a way to lose. They'll find a way to lose to Paraguay. They'll find a way to lose to Ecuador. They'll find a way to lose. That's their mindset now.
And even in that penalty shootout, where Paraguay had 2 match points and they failed, you thought, oh, there's the German spirit. And off they went out the tournament.
And no one wanted to step up for a penalty.
Well,
they left it up to Jonathan Tah. That's what mindset, mentality.
Beyond me.
You think if Jurgen Klopp is there, you think that is an acceptable behavior.
Yeah.
Again, all due respect to everyone that steps up to the penalty and those that feel like they shouldn't. Listen, I've never been in that position, and I can only imagine the amount of pressure that you're dealing with. But again, that is a mindset thing that we're not accustomed to seeing from Germany. When 3 people are passing up a penalty and you're seeing that play out in real live television on camera, like that just it is time for a change.
Yeah, it is.
Jurgen Klopp is the perfect guy for it, and I hope it happens because I'm sick and tired of seeing a German national team not live up to expectations.
Yeah, I mean, they've been poor. There's no two ways about that. And the German football team is in the gutter at the moment. Could Jurgen Klopp be the man to save them? We will find out in the subsequent weeks and months. Let's look ahead to what we've got on the rest of the show. We've got Terry Gibson coming in to talk Spain. We've got CBS's Michael Lahoud talking about African football.
Michael Lahoud, baby.
That's the man. Carl Walker's exclusive interview, of course, which we're really looking forward to, and some other bits and bobs. But stay with us on the S Word. You're watching it, sponsored by Kalshi.
Big name reaction from both sides of the pond.
The S Word
from talkSPORT. cuss words here. Just 2 hours of full-on football dialogue.
Every day.
talkSPORT presents
The S Word.
S-Word with me, Marcus Speller, and the magnificent Master Tesfacian. Of course, it's my debut on the S-Word. I'm enjoying it so far. I hope you are indeed. It's now time to react to a sensational game that happened last night between Portugal and Croatia, and it was brought to you live on talkSPORT.
Got the man outside him here to put the cross in towards the 6-yard box. It'll fall here. Perisic in a goal! And he scored! Ivan Perisic in line with the ball and the goal. A puff of the cheeks. He moves to his left. Stood and run up. Short run up. And he sends it straight down the middle. Cristiano Ronaldo, at 41 years of age, scores in a World Cup knockout game for the very first time. Here is Rafael Leone now. Puts in a good-looking ball. He's headed and it's in! Turned in! What a header! It's the substitute Goncalo Ramos who heads in from close range. And Portugal have turned this one around. As Chet flicked on, Chet's turned in! They scored! Croatia have scored! It's Guardiola! He's turned it in the 13th minute of added on time. Modric appeals. Referee.
Croatia player number 20 touched the ball and headed to the goal scorer. Final decision, offside.
The goal is ruled out. Croatia cannot believe it. Portugal celebrate again.
4 goals disallowed in that one. My giddy aunts. It was breathtaking stuff between Portugal and Croatia. What a game it was. The most amount of goals disallowed in tournament history. Master, we spoke about that at the start of the show. Let's talk about it again, particularly from the Portugal angle. They got away with that. We're going to talk about the refereeing decisions more in the next part of the show. But Portugal, some people had them as sort of 4th, 5th favourites going into this tournament. How are you feeling about the Portuguese? Does this victory make you think, you know what, they can go on and do it? Or do you think they've got Spain in the next round? That could be the end of their tournament.
End of their tournament. I went into this tournament really thinking this was going to be Portugal's year, and this was going to be Portugal's World Cup. My belief in their depth, they're having the best midfield in this competition, and their ability to have enough creative outlets to score enough goals. I thought this was a team that really, really could have made a deep run, and still has a chance to do so. My hesitancy, there's 2 ways I'm on it right now, okay? First off, I think this victory can be a galvanizing moment for Portugal. Because, Mark, this was a very emotional game.
Yeah.
This was, for me as a neutral.
Yeah.
The first half, as cagey as it was, kind of like a boxing match, as they were kind of feeling each other out. That second half, as we got closer and closer to the 12th round, the punches were flying. And both teams were giving it their all to continue their World Cup journey, but also with 2 legends at stake here with Cristiano Ronaldo and Luka Modric, one of them more than likely playing their last World Cup match ever. And the pressure, the burden that everyone felt, the players, the coaches, the fans, to make sure that they gave everything they could to make sure that this is not their final match. All of that was felt and displayed in Toronto. And I think coming out on top in that kind of match where you were down a goal and finding ways to find the answers, to find solutions, with Bruno Fernandes being subbed off, with Vitinha being subbed off, with Cristiano Ronaldo being subbed off, and still finding a way to be a pesky, difficult, tough, physical, tenacious, absolutely, and I say this in the most kindest way possible, just absolute sickos that Croatia are, that just never say die mentality. To come out on top of that victory with blood shed and poured for that victory, and to come out on top, I think this can be a galvanizing win. And doing that, of course, on the 1-year anniversary of Diogo Jota's passing, as you saw the tributes that poured in from the players, and Cristiano Ronaldo wearing his kit after the match. This can be a galvanizing moment to bring this team together. But in order for that to happen, I need more from Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
I need more from Vitinha. And truth be told, I also need more from Cristiano Ronaldo, because they're not going to beat Spain if those three guys are not capable enough of giving Portugal an incredible 90 minutes against the most talented team in this tournament.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that, and it was very poignant, as you say, with the Diogo Jota shirt being brought out. Cristiano Ronaldo got his goal. He got another goal. He's up to 3.
But what's your thoughts, though? I mean, do you think? Are you a believer in this Portugal side? Tell me.
Yeah, it's a good question. I was before the tournament. I really was. You look at that side. You look at some of those midfielders. I mean, you just reeled off some of the names there. I mean, my goodness, which side wouldn't want them in their team? You know, they've got decent. You've got a decent back line as well. I think, your man who played Nuno Mendes up against Lamine Yamal, would it be in the next round, as a mouth-watering battle between those two that we're going to be looking forward to as well. The issue for this Portugal team here is, and I'm going to say it, is Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, I know he tucked away penalty. Okay, coolness under pressure, but it is a penalty. I know he scored a lovely goal, which was a marginal offside, but still, took it well, etc., etc. I look at him and I just think, how is he starting games for this Portugal side? See, my take with Ronaldo would be, he would be a great impact sub, last 10-15 minutes if you need something, because he would bring somewhat of a chaos factor, because he would give defences the chills, I think, because people would look over and go, oh, blimey, it's Cristiano Ronaldo. He's about to come on the pitch. That's where defences would worry about him. I think right now, you heard what one of the DR Congo defenders said in the first round. They was asked, have you got a plan for Cristiano Ronaldo? And he said, no. We wouldn't need one for him. He didn't say it in a disrespectful way, but in a kind of a... He's a 41-year-old guy. We know what he's going to bring. Whereas in those moments where it's late on and the defenders are tired and you need someone with a canny eye for goal, I think that's where he would be of value. Try telling anybody connected to the Portugal side that they're not going to be having any of it. The funny thing is, though, is that Gonzalo Ramos, who would be the other guy who would start, he was the impact sub who came on and got his head on and
he scored the game-winning goal.
Scored the winning goal, exactly. So maybe I'm wrong and Roberto Martinez is absolutely right, and I should shut my mouth. But I just think with Gonzalo Ramos, I don't think he's a brilliant player. I think he's all right. He's a bit part player at PSG, but I mean, if you're a bit part player at PSG, then you're not too bad. His goal scoring has not been brilliant in the season just gone, but we know he can make a contribution. He's just signed for AC Milan for big money there. But the thing is, he can run, and I feel that those midfielders that you have, you look at again, just to Pedro Neto, Bruno Fernandes, Rafael Leao, Vitinha, João Neves. If you have a more mobile centre forward, I think he complements them better. And I think that Roberto Martinez and the Portugal FA are so wedded to Cristiano Ronaldo. And also, some people are suggesting that Cristiano Ronaldo is worth so much money to the Portugal national team in terms of sponsors, in terms of eyes on the pit, eyes on the game, shirt sales and so on, that it is too lucrative not to pick him. And that's an awful thing to say. That is a horrendous modern football type of thing to say for a player starting. And that wouldn't be the reason for me to put him in the side or anything. But that is perhaps what is at play here. I don't know what you think, Master.
But how would you to still have that same sentiment, though, when, again... Before this match, he never scored a knockout goal, and obviously that was the one
in the World Cup
thing that's been in the World Cup that's been hanging over obviously his career. And this is a match in which he finally scored. Yeah, he scored that. And again, I know you want to dismiss it and say it's a penalty. If this was Lionel Messi, everyone would be praising it and talking about, oh, he scored again. So I understand that there's a difference in perspective when it comes to, and also it's objectively hilarious that his first knockout goal would be a penalty.
Yeah, of course.
When the whole discussion about Lionel Messi and the penalties that he received, it just adds more fuel to the fire between this Messi Ronaldo debate. But listen, we have seen in this World Cup, time and time again, people stepping up to the spot and not being able to handle the pressure. Yep. And with Cristiano Ronaldo, in that moment, when, if you want to argue with the VAR decision or not, again, that's beyond. We can get to that. But to talk about that moment, when he knows he has not scored a knockout goal in the World Cup, when he knows that has been a talking point that has been going on for years now, throughout his career and every time the World Cup comes around. When Julian Green has more knockout goals than he does, and all the other obscure players that have played in this World Cup that have scored more knockout goals than Cristiano Ronaldo, he steps up to the spot knowing all of that, knowing the pressure, the weight, the what hangs in the balance of this match. And again, when we have just come across in two matches that came in penalties, and we're seeing people stepping up to the spot, skying it over, taking poor penalties, hitting it off the posts, all of these crazy scenarios that can all play out at the spot. Cool, calm, collected, took care of business, slotted it in, did exactly what we know him to be in those tense moments, in those pressure moments. Cristiano Ronaldo, throughout the course of his career, has always found a way to handle the burden, to handle the pressure, to handle the expectations, and he came through. Fine. And I know, again, it can be dismissed as just a penalty, but I think in that moment, and with the significance and everything that's on the line, he did come through. He did come through for his team.
I give him credit for scoring the penalty, but if he's not on the pitch, Bruno Fernandes takes it and almost certainly scores. Do you think Cristiano Ronaldo should be starting?
Bruno Fernandes has been terrible this tournament. Let's be honest. Bruno Fernandes, for being the Premier League Player of the Year, for someone that we expected to be one of the best players in this tournament, in a tournament in which all of these world-class players are stepping up, we have been looking for Bruno Fernandes, and he has been glaringly missing. Where has he been? Where is the guy that has been a facilitator, the creator that we saw at Manchester United? Where is this guy that we expected to create all of these chances and be the conductor of this Portuguese side, of this midfield that we talked about, of being the best midfield in this tournament? We have not seen that level from Bruno Fernandes, and we have not seen that level from Vitinha either. In that first half, I think he only had 3 forward passes. But these are two guys that have to step up. So again,
he's used to playing against a centre forward who can run though for Manchester United. That's my point, though. Because
Benjamin Sesko, is that how you talk about Benjamin Sesko?
At least he's young enough to run around a football pitch. Is my point. I'm not going to start saying Benjamin Sesko is a particularly brilliant player.
I was allowing you to find the dependent clause there to kind of step that back just a little bit.
I'm not going all in on Benjamin Sesko. That's not a hill I'm going to die on, by the way. Please do.
I'm giving you the space.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. But should Cristiano Ronaldo be starting games for Portugal? Because right now, whatever's going on, it's not really clicking. Okay, they got through this game, and I thought you summed it up very well. Earlier when you talked about the fight, and they came over it, and it was a battle, and they got through it. And you have to give credit, and the character of the side was there. As I say, I am not a huge fan of Gonzalo Ramos particularly, but with a more mobile centre forward, I think you have to play him, especially against Spain. Whereas if Ronaldo's just stood there, that is not a tough job for the defenders of that quality, really. My question again is, would you start Cristiano Ronaldo against Spain for Portugal?
100%. 100%. No doubt in my mind.
Can I 80%? 100%?
100%.
Can I roll you back to 95%?
No, 100%. No doubt in my mind, Cristiano Ronaldo, coming off of a game in which he just scored, getting over that barrier, finally scoring a World Cup knockout goal, this is the exact time you want to start Cristiano Ronaldo. He's gotten over that barrier, he's gotten over that hump, and not only just that, he was subbed off. Yeah. He was subbed off in the 80th minute. And again, kudos to Roberto Martinez, because everyone's going to be the focal point. You're talking about as well. Cristiano Ronaldo, he's a sore point of this thing. Listen, you could talk about he finally subbed him off, but guess what? He also finally subbed off Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, fair.
He also finally subbed off Vitinha. And guess what? They look better without them. It wasn't just everyone is going to focus on Cristiano Ronaldo. Everyone is going to talk about whether he should be starting or not. But at the end of the day, Roberto Martinez subbed off Bruno Fernandes. He subbed off Vitinha, and they played better. And they found ways to still to advance and beat a very difficult Croatia side. So if anyone needs to step up, it is that midfield that we had talked about being the anchor point of this team. Because regardless of not whether Cristiano Ronaldo scores goals or not, you have to control the midfield in order to win a World Cup. Well, okay. And they have the talent to do so. Yeah, and kudos to Roberto Martinez for finding the courage, for finding the guts, to subbing off all 3 of those players. In my opinion, whether he was influenced by what we saw the day before from Belgium, when their coach subbed off Kevin De Bruyne and subbed off Jeremy Doku, and all of a sudden that spurred and sparked Belgium's comeback against Senegal. Whether it's a simple fact that Roberto Martinez knows this is probably his last go. And if this is the way he's going to go out, then hey, go out guns blazing, with all the pressure you probably deal with the Federation, go out your way. Or maybe it's a maturity that Roberto Martinez spoke about after the match, of being able to take into account the tactical changes of the match and not getting too caught up in the emotions of it. Whatever the reason was, Roberto Martinez made 3 crucial decisions in his taking off 3 world-class players, and it paid off handsomely for him.
I think I like that bit of positivity towards Roberto Martinez, because man, he gets derided a lot. Does Martinez? People saying he wasted teams.
You think it's justified? I don't know, Jim.
Let me crack open this can of worms, if I may, for a moment.
Talk to me, please.
And I'm doing this, not long until we have to break for obvious reasons. But Roberto Martinez, right? I think he's harshly derided a little bit, because people often say he wasted the Belgium sides and so on. Well, in 2018 World Cup, he got Belgium to a semi-final, masterminded, probably, dare I suggest, the greatest result in Belgium's history, that quarter-final 2-1 win against Brazil in the 2018 World Cup. They were brilliant that day, and that was Martinez all day long. They lose 1-0. They edged 1-0 against France in the semi-final, and France was so machine-like at that World Cup, and they go on to win it. So that's a 50-50 game, or maybe 60-40 in France's favour. They lose it 1-0. Shame. They win the third-place playoff, or whatever that's worth at the World Cup. You fast forward, he's Portugal manager, wins the UEFA Nations League. Now, I understand your side of the pond, nobody will care about that tournament, because this side of the pond, very few people care about that tournament. Okay.
Oh, no, I love the Nations League. No, I watched it.
See, I love the Nations League as well. I'm glad I found you.
Hey, look at that. Me, mate. Listen, I'm glad I found you too, because Will Gavin always makes fun of me for that. But there's so much I learned from the Nations League last year. And this rematch that we're going to get between Spain and Portugal, that, again, I think that Nations League is going to play a big role in that.
There you go. Well, God bless you, sir. Because I finally found the other UEFA Nations League fan. And
we're here, baby.
I'm delighted about
There's two more of us. There's two more of us somewhere in the world.
One more of us, one less of them. So he won the Nations League, okay? He won it with Portugal. And I do think that is something. And Spain had such an amazing record in finals, from club teams to their international side as well. So I don't think Roberto Martinez is that bad. I don't think he's as bad as people make out. So I'm glad that you gave him his flowers today, because he did make big decisions and it helped Portugal get through. The difficulty is they are playing Spain, and that is going to be quite.
But your boy did it once. He did it once already. He was able to beat him in the Nations League final. And again, no one gave him a chance. Tactically speaking, they played their hearts out and was able to win in penalties. But again, what was the difference in that match?
Yeah.
Vitinha was unbelievable.
Yes.
That midfielder was tremendous. If they're going to win this game and beat Spain, we need that world-class Bruno Fernandes, we need that world-class Vitinha, and we need something out of Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, they're going back to Portugal.
Absolutely. There are worse places to go back to, I can tell you that. Up next, we'll hear an exclusive interview from an England legend. How are England shaping up for that trip to Mexico City? You're watching the S Word, sponsored by Kalshi.
You like that? You like that? From the touchline to the terraces, talkSPORT presents the S Word. for people who love football in North America. And I mean the proper kind, where you only use your feet.
The S Word
From talkSPORT.
Welcome back to the S Word with me, Marcus Speller, and of course, Master Test. Sorry, we're on. Yes, sorry, hello, welcome. Forgive me, it's my debut. Bear with me, welcome back to the S Word. It's now time to react to a sensational game that happened yesterday.
No, listen, come on, we got to bring it back. We got to bring it back. We got to bring it
to turn our attention to a special interview. Master, I am all over the place today. I'm so sorry. I stayed up late to watch the games. These people are thinking, bring Will Gavin back. Bear with me, everybody. We're now going to turn our attention to a special interview that took place yesterday.
We're good.
England legend Carl Walker, of course, is a part of talkSPORT's star-studded World Cup team. He sat down exclusively with the S Word and spoke about England after their performance against DR Congo. He talked about USMNT and how Pochettino is winning over the US faithful, and how tricky a task Mexico will be for the Three Lions in the last 16.
Gabriel Anderson here with the S Word. I'm joined by, should I say, the best right back that England have ever produced. I'm joined by, of course, Premier League champion, England legend, Carl Walker. Carl, how are you doing, sir?
Very well, thank you, very well. Come down on the train, so down here now, and I'm really enjoying it, yeah.
There's only one place to start last night. Tell me about the performance against DR Congo. They didn't make it easy, but I guess a win's a win and through to the next round. Yeah,
I think that's the most important thing. Obviously, in knockout games, you need to make sure you win. I think Congo did really well, especially the keeper pulled off some fantastic saves, but we kept on knocking on the door, and Super Harry Kane came to the rescue and scored two, very good goals.
Where will we be without him? He is such a big player. He comes up in big moments, and obviously his goal record speaks for itself. Talk to us about how important England's captain is to this side.
Yeah, he's massive. I think him and Jude have carried this team, so far in this tournament. I'd like some other goals from other areas, but hopefully they're saving them, in the pocket for the important games now, which are coming up. But Harry, as you just said there, the stats speak for itself, the goals speak for itself, and he popped up in the right time at the right moment last night for England.
Talk to us defensively, though, because obviously, like I mentioned, you are one of the best right backs that this country has produced. Jed Spence in particular has caught some, criticism, maybe unfairly as well, because there's a lot of pressure on his side. He's now one of the only right back options, unless you're asking, centre backs and potentially even Declan Rice, like we saw last night, to deputise in that position. But what would you assess in regards to what you've seen so far, and especially last night, in terms of Jed Spence and the right back position against the DR Congo?
I think Jed's got a difficult role here. He's played left back in one of the games, has then moved over to the right, and obviously, people might not understand, but it's completely different. Once you're playing left back and one you're playing right back, the dynamics, the dimensions of the game is completely different. But this is his first tournament. I think he's coming off an okay season at Tottenham, where they was fighting relegation. So he's not coming into the tournament with the best of form or on a high spirit, but he's handled himself quite well. There's things that he needs to learn and needs to obviously improve on, but he's still young and he can still learn that in the near future. But for the first start of the tournament, I think he's been okay. I think he probably say himself that he can do a little bit better, and hopefully now, as I said before, with the wingers, with the goals, that he's saving that for the later stage of the tournament.
Can you talk to me about, as well, because you say there's a lot of, pressure on him, and, rightfully so, because people are expecting England to do far, but the modern day, right back and left back position as well, to be fair. Obviously, Pep Guardiola, somebody that was a heavy influence in your career, and England, Nico O'Reilly especially, what I thought he did very well was inverting, going into midfield, sometimes even joining the attack in certain stages as well. Yeah. Talk to me about the different, expectations of a fullback these days, especially where you have to go into midfield, help possession, and obviously do your, traditional duties as a defender.
I think it's obviously different now, where I'm going to say Pep's kind of invented the inverted fullback. Will that stay around forever? Probably not. Things change, football adapts, people change their tactics and work out different solutions for that. A lot of the defenders now, as you can just say there with, Nico O'Reilly, Reece James, Trent Alexander-Arnold, they don't start as right backs, they don't start as full backs, they're normally centre midfielders, and all of a sudden they pull back there into, be good on the ball and distribute the ball from the start of the play. But it's the way the modern fullback's going. But foremost for me, was the defending part of the game. I base myself on that it was a 1v1 battle against my winger, and I always wanted to get the better of him. Now, some of these defenders now probably more concentrate on attacking side of the game. But I think tournaments are won by keeping clean sheets, and that's what's important. I think that's what England need to start doing, in keeping a clean sheet and building on that, because as you can see from Jude and Harry, we've got goals in this team.
You speak to me and I can see your mentality, like how you were as a player and, you know, what you focused on. I have to ask you about Wayne Rooney's comments in regards to, he understands the talent that's there at the minute, but if we've got Kyle Walker in the fridge, we should maybe think about potentially a return, maybe some sort of cameo to help out situations in the future, obviously. If Thomas Tuchel was to ring your line and say, do you want to return into the England fold, what would your reaction be? Would you do it?
Of course. I think it's a little bit of a difficult one because I'm retired. But when your country needs you, or if your country feels that they need you and the manager calls you, I think you have to step up and come out of retirement. I would probably go back into retirement after the tournament, but if needs must, I think for the country to get far in this World Cup, and he feel that he needed my services, then of course I would be there. But for Wayne to say that, obviously I know Wayne off the field as well, and you know, for him to say that as the England captain, as the player that he was, you know, it's great compliment, so I appreciate it.
Rooney is a legend in his own right, so this is legend talk that we're talking about over here, of course. We are, of course, a US-based show, so we, of course, have to chat a little bit about somebody you know very well, Mauricio Pochettino. It's fair to say at the start of the World Cup, he had his doubters with the US. There were obviously heavy expectations with them having a home tournament, and, you know, them needed to get off to a really good start. And, I mean, it's fair to say they have, and especially going off of, you know, the 2-0 result last night, Poch is winning around his suitors. From your experience with him as a manager, how is he doing that? How is he so quickly seemingly changed the tune of the American fans?
I think just by being Poch, I think just by being a good coach. I've always said that cream rises to the top, and obviously there's big expectations on the US team to succeed in this World Cup, with it being a home nation. But they had to put the doubters right, and I think he's done that. I think the American team has got off to a great start, and now only the bar and expectation is going to go higher. So they need to keep this level. The players need to keep singing off the same hymn sheet, and obviously they're buying into the manager's thought. And I think if they do that, they can have a really, really good tournament.
So from what you've seen, you know, so far, could they go a little bit further? Obviously, it's the Belgians for them next. Could you see them maybe causing an upset, maybe even going a smidge further?
I definitely think so. I don't think Belgium are the team of the Belgians before, you know, with your Hazards and your Fellaini's and De Bruyne at his peak, Lukaku at his peak, Vertonghen, Alderweireld, you know, the names go on for that team that was, you know, I'm going to say the golden generation for the Belgians. But I think they could cause an upset. I watched Belgium last night against Senegal, and again, they're not Belgium as what we were seeing, you know, 4-8 years ago. So I think they could probably cause an upset, but we will wait and see.
We will wait and see as well. And, you know, we'll wrap up in regards to our Mexicans because, you know, our Will Gavin, he's got the Mexicans all over the S word with their performances over this World Cup. Their fans have been amazing. But coming into this game versus England now, the altitude has been a really, really big thing because, you know, it's not every day that you go to the Azteca and you play in such an environment like that with that fan base, with that stadium, the history that's there. I'm sure you would have played in some high altitude, you know, situations, either at club or country level. What do you have to do to kind of prepare yourself for that? And how do you think England are going to fare in that game?
Well, England will have prepared themselves for it. You know, they would have trained at altitude and done the altitude chambers and stuff like that to make sure that if this match came along, that they would have been prepared. So I think anything with the altitude for an England perspective will have been ticked off. It's still going to be difficult. It's still going to be very tough to go to that, you know, stadium, arena and perform in front of the hostile environment that it's going to be. But these are the games that you want to be involved in. As a football player, you want to be involved in the best games. And I think this, to play against Mexico, in Mexico, at a home nation tournament, is one of the best games that you can think of.
It doesn't get any bigger. I'm very keen that we have to wrap up, but very quickly, any other teams or any other players that you've enjoyed at this World Cup so far?
I think Morocco could do a little bit of an upset. I really do. I think that they're a really well organised team. I watched them in the AFCON and they was tremendous. It was tremendous. The amount of energy and what it means to play for a badge. They know that in abundance. They've got a tough match against Brazil, but something inside me is telling them it could be a little bit of an upset.
I'll hold you to that, and I'll say when next time I see you, we'll see what the Moroccans are saying after that. But that's Kyle Walker with the S word. Kyle, Appreciate your time, brother. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
talkSPORT presents
The S Word.
Listen again and subscribe.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
And on the S Word YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the S Word, everybody. Yeah, Carl Walker there, talking about England, talking about the altitude in Mexico, and talking about the right-back position, which seems to be quite a conundrum for England at the moment. Who's going to be right-back for the game against Mexico? I do not know. We saw against DR Congo that Declan Rice filled in there towards the end of the game. I don't think it's going to be him. We're hoping that Reece James can come back from an injury. That seems rather fanciful. Maybe Jal Kwanzaa, I don't know. Master, at this point, who do you think could fill in at right back for England? Because it's anyone's guess at the moment.
Listen, I've seen Declan Rice at right back with Arsenal. I believe it was the West Ham game where they decided to put Declan Rice at right back and put MLS in the midfield. And within 15 minutes of that match, they had to switch. The concern I have for Declan Rice, and again, everyone's going to point at his link-up play with Bukayo Saka on the right side, and obviously that's going to come to fruition because they both play on the same domestic club. The concern I have for Declan is when he's nursing the hamstring situation, when he's dealing with this nerve pain that we talk about, and already as it is, in terms of pace, what he's more likely going to be going against Quiñones on the other side. Is that a guy that you want running up and down the wing, having to contribute in terms of the link-up play with Bukayo Saka, and also having to track back at the speed and the pace that the Mexicans have in Stadio Azteca? I'm not saying mentally that he's not capable of doing it. I question physically if he is capable of doing it. And that is my biggest concern with everyone running away right now saying, oh, Declan Rice needs to play right back. He needs to play right back. Hold your horses, because I don't know if that is necessarily the solution you're looking for.
Yeah, when you mentioned Quiñones, I thought, oh yeah, him. Yeah, I don't like the sound of that. I really, really don't. I mean, for me, when Tuchel named his England squad, there was two areas of the pitch where people thought, ooh, hang on a minute here, and it was the fullbacks. And it was in central midfield in a sort of a deeper sort of sense, not attacking midfields. I think you got enough in there with Bellingham, Rodgers and Eberechi Eze. People question Jordan Henderson going, well, Jordan Henderson, we know what kind of role he's playing. People say, he should have hit Adam Wharton, something like that. That's what he went with. But it was the fullbacks. People thought, okay, you got Nico O'Reilly on the left. Is Jed Spence, who often plays left back for Spurs, but he's a right footer. Are we happy with that? And then on the other side, you had Reece James and Tino Livramento. Well, Tino Livramento didn't even make the tournament. He goes out, and of course, Trevor Chalobah comes in. And that was a bit of a head scratcher for a lot of people. And Tuchel said, well, don't worry, now Jarell Kwanzaa can focus on playing right back, although he's more of a centre-half. Trent Alexander-Arnold sitting at home. Clearly, Thomas Tuchel doesn't like him, whether it's personality-wise, whether it's playing style, I do not know. But that chat was put to bed firmly with that call-up from Trevor Chalobah. What do you make of this, sitting where you are as a fan of the US?
Tell me about this. Tell me about this, because I keep hearing English fans who are talking about, Trent Alexander-Arnold should have been on the team,
Yep.
And if he was on a team, he'd be a difference maker. And I'm not questioning the capabilities and the talent that Trent Alexander-Arnold have.
Sure.
What I am questioning is his defensive capabilities, which is probably a big reason why he is not on this World Cup squad.
It is. I think that's
there's
the reason,
nothing that there's nothing. Listen, what defensively, what difference would you deal with having either Kwanzaa or Spence or Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back? Tell me, what defensively speaking, would Trent Alexander-Arnold be an upgrade over the options you have right now, defensively speaking?
No, defensively, no. No, he wouldn't be.
So what is this romanticism going on with the absence of Trent Alexander-Arnold? Why is it every single time I'm hearing about, if Trent Alexander-Arnold was on, we would never had this problem? Have you not watched what Trent Alexander-Arnold has done in the national team before that? Hell, it was the same English fans that were saying he needs to be in the midfield, not at right back with the national team. Now all of a sudden you miss him at right back? Like the logic here is puzzling. It's the absence of his presence that I think people are missing. And again, I'm not here to say his quality, his ability to bring in crosses from an attacking standpoint. I am not questioning that whatsoever. What I am questioning is people thinking all of a sudden that Trent Alexander-Arnold wouldn't have been cooked in the same way Jet Spence was and put up in a tight spot on that goal that Congo scored to go down 1-0, as if we haven't seen Trent Alexander-Arnold in that position time and time again at Liverpool, in England, and at Real Madrid.
No, I agree.
Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me about your people. Tell me about the English people. Why is it that people think that he was going to make a difference offensively now? All of a sudden.
No, you're not wrong to answer that question. I think that there is a little bit of chat here. Not everybody's gone on Trent Alexander-Arnold. For me personally, my take would be when he said Trent's not in the side and he's not getting in there, and one or two other players as well, like Palmer and Foden and Gibbs-White on other areas of the pitch, I thought to myself, Tuchel's got a plan, and he's got to play a way he wants to play. And yes, you're always going to get criticised at some point. Well, you should have taken him, and we cherry pick. And that's what people are doing here. You're right. People are cherry picking and saying, for that moment when Declan Rice or Jed Spence had the ball out wide, could we not have clicked our fingers and Trent was on the pitch and he could have crossed it at that moment? That's not how football works, quite clearly. So I actually quite like what Tuchel was doing and is doing. And I think the way England like to build up, you see it. Nico O'Reilly has licence to go forward, and he is a crucial player for England, and he has to stay fit. For crying out loud, Nico, if you listen to this, you need to stay fit. We need to wrap him in cotton wool. But the rest of the back line, they tend to form a sort of back three, often out of possession, and sort of build up the play like that. So I do agree with you. You are not wrong in when you say like this sort of cherry picking and why is Trent not there, and all this kind of stuff that you get from some sections of the population here. I think that England, I think they will. Whoever plays right back is up against it with Quinones. I think England have got a lot to do. But I do think defensively they're going to have to be a little bit more conservative against Mexico because DR Congo caught them cold. They were talking about, what DR Congo are going to sit deep and so on. Congo thought, is that right? Well, do you know what we're going to do? We're going to put 5 up top straight away and we're going to have a man over and we're going to go 1-0 up. So I think Tuchel's got to be very, very careful how England approach that game in the opening stages. It's going to be a fascinating game. A lot of people very, very nervous in this country about Mexico in the Azteca at altitude. All the rest of it, blah-de-blah-de-blah, but we'll speak more of that, I'm sure. But up next, we'll chat some Spain. The excellent Terry Gibson will join us for more on their chances to go all the way in this tournament. It's going to be fascinating. That Spain versus Portugal last 16 game, and of course both sides on the same draw as France, the same side of the draw as France as well. You're watching The S Word, sponsored by Kalshi.
The S Word with Will Gavin and Master Tesfacion from talkSPORT. S Word, featuring Will Gavin and Master Tess Fassian. And a squad of big-name contributors. The S Word from talkSPORT.
Welcome back to the S Word here with myself, Marcus Speller, in for Will Gavin. And of course, we have Texas's finest, Master Tess Fassian, as well.
There we go. You got it right.
We got it right this time. There we go. I had to do it at some point. There we go.
We're getting hot now.
There we are. Feet under the desk. Here we go. Lovely old job.
Got a couple touches in us, so let's go. We're ready to go, baby. Give it in 90 minutes.
I've had my opening 25 minutes against DR Congo, like the rest of the Englishmen. I'm feet under the desk now. Now, Master.
Just like the Englishman, you just need a hydration break. That's all it was. You need a hydration break to get yourself together, get yourself some water, get the tactics right, and we're here. We're here, baby.
There we are. Here. I'm not used to this humidity. We're chatting Spain now, if we can, everybody. That's what we're going to do. I'm delighted to say we have a man who knows it all when it comes to Spanish football. Spanish football expert, the fantastic Terry Gibson. Terry, how you doing, sir?
Terry, how's it going?
I'm very well, gents. How are you?
Good to see you, my man. Good to see you. Spain 3, Austria 0. What a performance. Have Spain finally turned up properly at this World Cup, Terry?
Yeah, it was a discreet start to the tournament, wasn't it? When they struggled against Cape Verde, that's for sure. And then nobody really took too much notice in the game against Saudi Arabia when everybody expected them to win. And then I think yesterday was the one. Uruguay was a tough game, but yesterday was the first time I saw them coming together nicely, and maybe those 3 discrete games they had were useful to iron out a few creases. Some team selection issues that Luis de la Fuente has had to deal with. Looks like he's finally settled on the right back, which is Pedro Porro. He'd been swapping between him and Marcus Llorente. They started off with Pedri playing as the number 10, but now he's playing in the double pivot with Rodri, which allows Dani Olmo in the team. And they're having to make do with trying to get Lamine Yamal back to full fitness. And, of course, Nico Williams. But Alex Baena has come into the team and performed excellently. So they're ticking along nicely, but still, in my opinion, lots of room for improvement.
I want to go to Alex Baena because I was such a huge fan of his at Villarreal. He goes to Atletico Madrid and then just has a disappointing season. And with the injuries that they had at winger going into this tournament with Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams, someone had to step up. And I've been waiting for that moment, and it finally felt like it all came together for Baena yesterday. How impressive of a performance was that, and how much is that needed from Spain to have someone else stepping up going into matches like against Spain here where you're going to need everybody?
Oh, exactly. And I agree with you totally. He was fabulous at Villarreal. And I think he's lacked confidence going into this tournament because he's had such a disappointing season at Atletico Madrid, where he hasn't found the place yet. He hasn't found the position. To the extent you're looking at that now at Atletico Madrid and thinking, what is he? Where does he play? Is he a winger? Is he a number 10? Does he play attacking midfield? But this was his position where he played at Villarreal. And he got the move to Atletico Madrid because he was always creating chances, assisting loads of goals, and getting on the score sheet himself. So going into this tournament, it would have been some doubts would have been in the back of his mind. But he's really playing well. And a lot of people might not know him. He's not one of the big names of Spanish football that if you don't watch La Liga on a regular basis. But if you do, you know he's got quality, he's got excellent technique, he works extremely hard, and he's given good balance. I mean, it would be better if Nico Williams was fit and able to play. Alex Baena is a smashing replacement.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you about Nico Williams. I mean, do you think we're going to see him in the next game against Portugal? Because, I mean, we remember the last Euros 2 years ago when the two boys on the wings, Yamal and Williams, were just so good. I mean, they lit up the tournament, didn't they? There was such a great watch. Spain, worthy winners of the European Championships 2 years ago. How far back, how close is Nico Williams to getting back into this side in terms of injury?
Well, De La Fuente said he's definitely going to be involved in the next game.
Okay.
He said that prior to the game yesterday. It won't be as a starter. It can't be. I mean, he missed a lot of playing time this season with Athletic Club. It was touch and go whether he made the squad. Then he's picked up a different injury now. So they're having to nurse him through, but he's a great option from the bench. Initially, I would hope that if he's coming off the bench for 20 minutes in the next game against Portugal, if they stay in the tournament, then we might see him play starting games in the latter part of the tournament if they're still in it.
He'll be ready for France. He'll be ready for France, Terry.
Yeah. I'm sure they're looking ahead at that, but not that they know that Portugal is a tough opponent. But it's a miss. There's no doubt it's a miss. Nico on the left, Lamine on the right, fully fit Lamine, and he's getting there. Lots of promise yesterday. Lots to enjoy about his performance. No end product. That will come. With another game, that will come. He was so close yesterday on a few occasions to breaking past that last defender. If he's been playing 2 or 3 matches, which we've seen him play now, that sharpness, match fitness will be there. He's against a tough opponent, Nuno Mendes, though, in the next game. So
it's a great battle.
That's going to be a really good and an important battle as well in that match.
And the Nuno Mendes that shut him down in the Nations League final that last year, a fully fit Lamine Yamal. But him going 90 minutes, I feel like, was the biggest story of this match. As you talked about, him building up his match fitness and the unfortunate setbacks that we've seen that Nico Williams unfortunately had to deal with. Lamine Yamal feels like he's on track now, and in a match, of course, leading up to Spain, where you were going to need a fully fit Lamine Yamal in order to advance. Yeah,
definitely. And everyone wants to see him play. I mean, he has his critics, and I can't believe there are any critics of an 18-year-old that's done what he's done in football with Barcelona and Spain. A lot of people want to see him fail because it's jealousy. It happens with all the big players. I love watching Lamine Yamal play, and any player like that. For me, the big talking point with Spain, though, is Mikel Oyarzabal. His story is incredible. He was a winger, and a really good winger at Real Sociedad. He picked up an ACL injury, missed the last World Cup, came back for the Euros, scored the winning goal in the final, and he's still adapting to being a centre forward. And
I was going to ask you,
it's been a struggle.
I was going to ask you about Mikel Oyarzabal, and it's interesting, the journey, because Master and I were speaking about him earlier, and it's interesting he converted sort of centre forward as much as one is a centre forward in a Spanish team. The way he plays, the way he uses his body, the way he finishes, he looks like at times that he's been a number 9 all through his life. Just beautiful, the way, the types of finishes, the touches, and so on and so forth. But as you say, not always been that.
Yeah, no, he was a wide player with a touch of pace, and he technically a really, really good player. And there was always talk of him leaving Real Sociedad for about 50 million. It never happened because of his ACL injury. And it took him a long while. I was concerned he was never going to be the same player again. And it happens. Some players, they're not the same. They lose a yard of pace. He was never lightning quick, but he was sharp. But I would say it took him 18 months to get back to full fitness after that ACL injury. And in that time, because he lost a yard of pace, his club team put him up as a centre forward. He has to play for Real Sociedad. He's the talisman. He's the leader. He's the one that scores goals in cup finals, gets some goals that qualify for Europe. But he's not been prolific. And there was a spell where he's been playing as centre forward for Spain and looking much better as a centre forward than he did for Real Sociedad. That all changed with a new manager halfway through last season. They changed the style of play, similar to what Spain play. So there's always players around him, lots of support. He doesn't need to be in the game for 90 minutes. And if you give him a chance, he's deadly. So technically he's a wonderful player. I'm really pleased for him because sometimes that ACL injury, some players are never the same. Thankfully, 90% of them are. They come back. It takes a long while. The recovery is long. And they're back to normal. But for him, it was a struggle. And there was times where he was trying to outpace opponents and he was nowhere near doing that. So to see him flourishing now it's a real feel-good story, to be honest.
Yeah, and stepped up in a role that Spain desperately needed up top, and he is complimented. And I mean, when you get in the surface as well from Baena and Lamine Yamal in the way that he does and the finish ability that he has, it's tremendous. One other person I want to talk about, though, is that I felt like I had a really, really good game was Marco Correa. And you talked about Pedro Porro as well, and those two fullbacks, when they are zipping on those along those wings and those channels and putting up a defensive shift that they did, but also contributing in the attack as well. This truly brings it together in terms of what people say with this being the most talented team in this World Cup.
Yeah, and I looked at the average position of the players yesterday for Spain, and surprisingly, Porro and Cucurella, it wasn't right up high, it wasn't in the attacking half. So they choose their moments. This is a team that hasn't conceded a goal in this tournament. So they're doing a bit of everything, which is what Spain need. Danny Carvajal used to do that. We talk about fullbacks now that push on and push on. We kind of forget that they're defenders. But with these two, they're doing their defensive work. Porro gets in the box and scores a goal. Correa's making goals. So the average shape of the team looked really good yesterday, which we overlook sometimes. And you think, you know, in regarding fullbacks, we can look at them and say he was fantastic because he was high up the pitch and he was putting lots of crosses in. But they're doing both at the moment, which makes the defence of Spain really solid. It's been a battle between Marcos Llorente and Pedro Porro. They're swapping games, but I think Porro sort of sealed his place yesterday with that goal, the performance, and the defensive work as well as the attacking work.
Terry, Aymeric Laporte is at the heart of that defence. He's now in his 30s. He's played in many different places, but he went off to Saudi to play in, I think, 2023, if my memory serves me correctly there, but in recent years, and he was there for a couple of years. He's now back at Athletic Bilbao, of course. I have to say that generally speaking, when a player goes to Saudi, you kind of think, okay, well, it was nice seeing you play football, and we'll see you we'll see pictures of you at FIFA lunches or something like that in a few years' time. But here he is at the heart of one of the favourites at this tournament. I mean, Spain could go all the way and win this. They will have to beat France on the way. Portugal first, of course. But talk to me a bit about...
And the US.
And the US, absolutely, yes. Forgive me. I speak out of turn and I need to be corrected. Talk to me about Aymeric Laporte. How valuable is he to this team?
Well, he's proving to be valuable, but there was a period where, even though he's back at Athletic Club and playing well, Athletic Club weren't playing particularly well, and you wonder whether it would hamper his chances. I didn't think he would be one of the first picks. I didn't think going into this World Cup that Aymeric Laporte, based on what we've seen at Athletic Club this season, would be the number one pick. Kubasi is alongside him, and it's immediately they've set up a really good relationship, a good partnership. Robin Lenormand, who was excellent in the European Championship success, not in the squad. Marc Pubil has entered the fray. Eric Garcia is a utility player that can play centre-back or right-back or holding midfield. So I was concerned going into this World Cup who was going to be the first choice centre-back pairing. And I wasn't convinced it was going to be Laporte. But I think De La Fuente knows that with an 18, 19-year-old Kubasi, it's important to have that experienced player alongside him. Inigo Martinez did it at Barcelona when he was playing alongside Kubasi. It kind of feels Kubasi doesn't need it, but it helps him to have that 30-something-year-old centre-back alongside him.
Terry, as we talk about the different matchups and the pathways that people have, some teams we've seen have been challenged tremendously in this World Cup, whether it was in the group stage or in the round of 32. And you look at Spain's pathway to this point, obviously Cape Verde, the struggle that they had there, beating up Saudi Arabia, as you mentioned, beating up an Uruguayan side 1-0 that heavily struggled in this tournament and wasn't connected, and now beating an Austrian side that, in terms of quality and talent, well deserving of making it to the knockouts, but maybe not the most challenging nation. Has Spain been challenged to this point? And considering what you've seen so far to this point, they're about to face a Portuguese side that, again, just came out of a battle with Croatia. Is there still something to be seen from the Spain side that we haven't seen yet because of maybe the competition they face so far?
Yeah, I agree totally. I think that all those games that we're referring to, it would have been a massive surprise if they hadn't won. And, they didn't beat Cape Verde. That was a huge surprise. But the rest of the games, you're still looking at Uruguay possibly and thinking it could be a difficult match. It was hard work. Austria, it would have been a surprise if Spain hadn't beaten them. I think their real test is Portugal. The first genuine test is Portugal. But I think they're in good shape. And these 4 games that they've had have led to that now. And it's kind of almost been like a pre-season in their World Cup, to get to this stage where not only them, all the big teams that are going to be left in it are all facing tough games. The big games. I've enjoyed the World Cup. I've loved the World Cup. I'm out in the States as well watching it now. So I get to watch it at reasonable hours rather than 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm looking forward to the big matches now. So it really gets going now, this competition.
It really does, yeah. This is where it becomes brutal. Those teams that you like to watching and you thought, they're quite a nice side, I love the fan base, bang, they're gone. Lose a game and it's done. Terry, can I have one final question? Are Spain going to win this World Cup?
That's it's an impossible one to answer. They're in a group of teams, I think, that have the chance of winning it, and there's some outsiders. But I think Spain are one of those teams that they've got to overcome Portugal, and then maybe France. That's going to be tough. But it's going to be tough for all of those teams. And other teams in the tournament that have surprised, that genuinely believe they can win it. Mexico against England. Mexico are going into this competition now with a head of steam. The USA, watching that, everybody in the United States thinks that they've got a chance of winning it. Is it possible an underdog can win it? Highly unlikely, because that doesn't tend to happen in World Cups. Brazil are still in it. Argentina are still in it. So the regular suspects are there. Spain are definitely in contention, but it's tough to. I think France appear to be the standout team.
Yeah.
If they play Spain, there's going to be certain aspects of that game I'm looking forward to. I think Spain have a better midfield. France have better attackers. Where is that game going to be won or lost? So there's a lot to look forward to, but I have no idea who's going to win it.
There is a lot to look forward to. Terry, thank you very much for joining us. Absolutely.
Much love, Terry. Thank you so much as always.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Man,
love talking Spanish ball with him, man. He can get down to the nitty gritty. He knows it all, man. I genuinely enjoy having him on the show.
He knows his onions, as we say here, or ceballos, should I say. Right, up next, it's been
never heard that.
Stick around, mate, stick around. It's been a tricky round of 32 for the African teams. Up next, we've got CBS's Michael Lahoud, who joins us to talk about those sides. You're watching the S Word, sponsored by Kalshi.
Bringing all the biggest football debates stateside. The S Word from talkSPORT. Kickoff to the full-time whistle. Don't say the S word. Say the F word.
Football. The S Word from talkSPORT.
Welcome back to the S Word with me, Marcus Speller, in for Will Gavin, and of course, the magnificent master, Tess Fassian. Now, we've been singing the praises of the likes of Portugal and Spain so far on this show today. We now have to turn our attention to the African sides. We've enjoyed a lot of these teams, but unfortunately, a fair few of them have already exited the tournament. 9 of them made it
Don't
to the
remind
last
me.
32.
Don't remind me.
I'm sorry, old boy, but that's the way it goes. Morocco is still in, and we have a chance for 2 more tonight. I say a chance, I mean Argentina against Cape Verde. You never know in football. You'll never know is all I'll say there. And of course, Ghana in action later. Of course, Algeria were eliminated by Switzerland as well yesterday. Well, let's dive into it now. We've got Michael Lahoud from CBS's Golazzo. Michael, lovely to have you with us.
Fellas, I usually come in here full of piss and vinegar and full of bubbles, full of smiles. I've been coming in here saying this is Africa's World Cup.
Yeah.
Man, this African continent has me drinking gin early in the morning, man. I'm just literally just...
Is there any juice in there to liven it up?
I'm telling you what, I might import this over to the UK for you guys because Africa needs some gin right now. It's Hendrix. It's the good stuff, by the way.
Yeah. You're wearing, is that the Egypt shirt you've got on there?
Yeah, man. Game day today.
I forgot Egypt. Yeah, of course. Egypt, Cape Verde and Ghana. So there are 4 African sides left in the competition. Morocco are safely through to the next round, of course. I mean, the obvious question is, Michael, are any of the other 3 going to join Morocco in the next round?
Yeah, look, I am not as optimistic. I'm probably more optimistic on Cape Verde beating Argentina than I am the other ones, solely because, well, the Ghanaian Bushman, the witch doctor that put the hex on Harry Kane, he's come out and said that he's putting the hex on Lionel Messi. So he's 1 for 1 so far. And that's why I might sprinkle a little bit. I don't know what the odds are on Cabo Verde. But look, I haven't had a sip of the Hendrix gin yet. But maybe after I get some Hendrix gin in, I'll put a little bit of wager on the Bushman and Cabo Verde. No, but all jokes.
Why has he gone for Lionel Messi? Why didn't he go for, say, Luis Diaz?
Oh, come on, man. He's going to be a social media phenomenon after this World Cup.
I'm forgetting the big picture here. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's all about the marketing dollars. He's got to get out of Ghana somehow, right? He got the greatest goal scorer.
Really leaning into the vibe of this World Cup.
And now he's going after the greatest player of all time. Why not? When you're hot, you're hot. And when you're Africa, right now, you're not. And Master, I know that you're not happy with this African football situation, and neither am I.
No, I'm not. And look, we didn't get a chance to talk about it on yesterday's show in the thrills of the USA and England both advancing into the round of 16. But I've been thoroughly disappointed by what we've seen in the round of 32 from African nations. And we were on the show celebrating the fact that 9 African nations made it to the knockouts. It was a tremendous moment, a better percentage than any other confederation in this tournament, and well-deservedly so for that praise. But the expectations and the bar has raised. And with that, the criticisms and the performances have to be adjusted with that level of expectation as well. And look, Ivory Coast, DR Congo, Senegal all had commendable performances, but the end result was not there, and it was in the balance for them. And in 2 of those situations, we're talking about a DR Congo side and a Senegal side that were in control going into the second hydration break, and seeing in those final 15, 20 minutes, it all just crumbling down and conceding 2 goals in the final moments. Mike, what was the reason behind that? Why is it that, in particular with DR Congo and Senegal, that they weren't able to see it through in advance?
Look, I've been thinking about this, and you and I talked about this, and I know that there's a big African following and a big African fan base on talkSPORT, and especially the S Word, but I'm going to get real here. I really think there's an inferiority complex that exists in Africa when it comes to football, and there's only one nation right now on the continent that does not have that, and that's Morocco. Morocco does not fear any team it goes up against, and I'm going to give you one shining example of why. There was a play with Morocco and Ismail Saibadi, who the world's now seeing as a damn good player, and we're going to get to see him in the Champions League with Bayern Munich. There's a reason for that. He goes in, he gets slide tackled by Van Acker, who's going to be playing at Tottenham. Just went for a big money move, right? Vanaka gets in his face, Saibati gets up, and he just gets right in his face and says, what the hell are you going to do about it? Vanaka backs off. And for me, I was watching that moment, and I thought, it's about damn time that African nations stand up and realize that they can go toe-to-toe with the rest of the world, in particular Europe. And what I see is a sense of inferiority that African nations are comfortable. They're comfortable taking the 1-0 lead. If you're DR Congo, I don't care if it's England. England were rattled. They were rattled in those first opening minutes, in the first 20, 22 minutes. Yeah. Go for the jugular. You can't leave some of these teams hanging around, because when you have players like a Harry Kane, when you have some of the game changers that some of these teams have, like your Erling Haaland, you leave the back door open, they will punish you. And the most embarrassing moment of all is that the country that are the rightful champions of the African continent, Senegal, they had the most embarrassing moment of this World Cup. In my opinion, what Senegal has done, what a lot of these African nations have done, for as great as it is to get 90% of the teams into the knockout round, the fact that each and every single one of these teams are getting knocked out, are finding ways to self-implode, they're setting the movement back. They're setting African football back. And that's just my opinion. I know people disagree with it. If you disagree, I don't care. The results are in the are right there. And I'm going to give you a stat that really backs this up. So African nations in the knockout round in World Cup history, they played 19 matches. They've only won 4 of them. 3 of those wins have been Morocco. Senegal is the only other side that's won 1 game, and that was at 2002 at the World Cup in Korea, Japan. So you tell me if Morocco isn't the standard of football in Africa that every single nation needs to follow. Because what I'm seeing is a continent that still believes that they deserve to be in the shadows of Europe, South America, and the rest of the world. They're definitely playing like it when it counts.
I mean, yeah, it's a pretty damning stat. I mean, I remember going all the way back to the 1990 World Cup when Cameroon burst onto the scene and were absolutely magnificent. And they beat Colombia in the knockouts and were very, very close to beating England. And it seemed more like a one-off back in those days. And then you had Nigeria kind of came along and so on. I have to say I've been slightly disappointed that more sides haven't made it to the last 32, but who knows, there's still a few teams left in it, and we shall see, although it does seem quite a tall order. But Morocco are leading the way, because the power of football in Africa used to be in West Africa, and I think really Senegal should be through to the next round. I still can't believe that Belgium managed to do that, or Senegal imploded. But what have Morocco done? What is it about this side? Because 4 years ago, they were in the semi-final of the World Cup, and on another day they beat France in that game. They're there in the last 16 now. We're talking about France and Spain and Portugal. Morocco will have something to say on that side of the draw. USA as well. Master, forgive me, I'm speaking out of turn.
Thank you.
But what do you think Morocco have done to get themselves into a position now where, as you say, they don't give a damn what everybody else thinks? There's no inferiority complex. They've risen, and they are now, you would argue, the top table. I mean, Scotland fans in the first round, you spoke to Scotland fans, they obviously, it was a must-win game against Haiti. They were more scared of Morocco than Brazil.
Yeah, and they should be, because I thought Morocco is a better team than Brazil in that group. I think Morocco is a better team than Brazil right now. I would argue against any Brazilian that wants to have that conversation. They're a more complete side, and last time I checked, they have players that have a sense of ambition that are bigger than their club teams. This is what I love about what Morocco are doing. So Morocco in 2015, they came in and they decided, we are not going to live in the shadows of North African football. We're not going to live in the shadows of West African football. We are not even going to compete with the rest of Africa. We want to compete with the top nations in the world. That is what I'm talking about changing this inferiority complex that exists in Africa. Is why not have the ambition of competing against the best? And they came out and said, we have a mission of winning the World Cup by 2030. That was in 2015. They didn't even know they were going to host the World Cup in 2020 or 2030. And so I applaud the head of their federation for setting out that mission. And now when you set out that mission, you have to have the how are we going to do it? So everything exists for success at the grassroots level for Morocco. You go and you set up scouting networks. You go and you tap in and you accept that in Africa, there's a diaspora that exists. Master, you've traveled the world. You have more stamps on passports than I think Vinny Jr. has goals at this World Cup, my friend. And he's got a lot of goals right now. I know that's your boy, but you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I would hope he would have more than 3 or 4 passport stamps, by the way, on his passport. Just for but I take the point of what you're saying.
Oh man, he's got a
passport stamps.
Yeah. Messi's got nothing on him. But they went at the grassroots level, and they accepted the fact that a diaspora exists, and that local talent is not enough to get you through and lift up your national team on the international stage. That is a fact in Africa right now. Things have happened where the diaspora is all over the world. So they go and they recruit one of the pillars, their captain, Achraf Hakimi, who in another lifetime would be playing for Spain. He's born in Madrid. And then they go and do one better. They go to Amsterdam. And Noussair Mazraoui, who we know plays for Manchester United, they go and recruit him. And he goes to the Dutch Federation when the Dutch are going to say, hey, come play for us. You play for Ajax. He goes, no, I'm Moroccan. He made a conscious choice to go play for Morocco. And then after that, you go and start recruiting more and more people. There's one player that Fulham fans will be familiar with that really typifies what's happening with Morocco right now is Issa Diop. Issa Diop, born in Toulouse, played for the French under-20 national team, played with Christopher Nkunku, played with Adrien Rabiot, who is a World Cup winner with France. And Mohamed Ouabi knocked on his door and said, hey, I know that you want to represent France, but in reality, you're a good player and you can be part of something special that we're building. Here's our project. We want to be World Cup winners in 2030. You can be a big part of that. We need a central defender. Issa Diop scored one of the biggest goals in Moroccan football history against the Dutch. And he's a hero in Morocco. So it's not by mistake that they're in the situation they're in, and it's only going to get better. I mean, they're recruiting younger, they're recruiting smarter, and yeah, they are African. I don't care what West African countries are saying. I don't care what other African countries are saying. I think Morocco has become the envy of every country on the African continent. The results back it up, the mentality backs it up, and I think by 2030, there's a good chance that them being World Cup winners could back it up.
I mean, it could happen in this tournament if we're being honest. The idea that they're a dark horse, like it's absurd to think about that. If a semifinals from 2022 that's only gotten better, that people still view them as a dark horse. Like this is a team that should be considered in that tier 1 of potential nations that could lift this trophy right now. They are playing unbelievable football in this tournament, and even with the coaching change that they made coming out of AFCON, if they've only continued to get better, and even with some of the injuries that they've dealt with, they've gotten better, and they've got a couple young 22-year-olds coming off from Strasbourg who are contributing off the bench. But I want to go back to the point that you made, Lahoud, about when Morocco needed a moment. They needed a play. They needed some magic. They're late in the match. They found the equalizer from Issa Diop. Where when we look at that from Ivory Coast, when we look at that from DR Congo, when we look at that from Senegal, the magic didn't come for Ivory Coast late in that match. The magic didn't come for DR Congo. The magic didn't come from Senegal, even though they really didn't need any magic. They just need to see it through. It's
dearie me.
Like with DR Congo, as we're seeing that, and again, I know I was texting you and just frustrated because obviously everyone's going to praise about England's comeback, but making only one substitution in that first 70 minutes, and then coming out of a hydration break without making any subs, when Thomas Tuchel has brought on reinforcement after reinforcement to tactically change up and make them more attacking. And the DR Congo had yet to make any substitutions until after they equalized it. And then on the Senegal side, when, again, Belgium making all these different changes and Senegal trying to see it through, we could talk about this inferiority complex quite a bit, but tactically speaking as well, what needs to improve? Because they took DR Congo took chances, and that has not been acknowledged enough. They went to a back four and a 4-3-3, and they took it to England. That tactically, that was brilliant. But in terms of in-game management, it just was not there. And with Senegal as well at the end, just not seeing it through in those final few moments as Romelu Lukaku comes on the pitch and makes a difference. What needs to change from a tactical perspective or from an in-game perspective for some of these African nations to again get over that inferiority complex that you explained?
Yeah, I think just the quality of coaching, and that's no disrespect to the Sebastian Desabre, who's done an excellent job with DR Congo. And mark my words, at the next Africa Cup of Nations, DR Congo is coming Whether you're Nigerian, Ghanaian, or Senegalese, they are coming. They are my sleeper pick to win the next Africa Cup of Nations. I'm going to put it out there right now. But when you look at things that you pointed out, the in-game management, there's something that I realize that happens in Europe that South American teams and coaches have access to is ideas. Football is evolving. Football is evolving on the African continent, where I think African players actually want to go and be on the front foot. You could see a joy that DR Congo was having being on the front foot. Brian Sepenga is a player who'll probably get a big move after this World Cup. He plays in the Spanish second division. He looked like he could play for Barcelona on the day with how he was cooking Jed Spence, my friends. Barcelona probably should get him alongside Anthony Gordon at this point. He was that good on the day. He's been that effective at the World Cup. You look at a player like Pop Gay, who I think if you're Everton, you should go get Pop Gay. But this is where this lack of just the fine margins and the coaching intelligence and just the next evolution of African football needs to expand on is European coaches, you get to go to coaching symposiums. South American coaches, there's a think tank on football. That doesn't exist in Africa. I think the federations need to band together and look at this as how do we push African football forward? This isn't a Senegalese issue. This isn't a DR Congo issue. It's not a Ghanaian issue. This is an African issue. And if you look at Mohamed Ouabi, he's gotten his education in Europe. He's got a European coaching education. So he's coaching Moroccan players with a European style of play, but they still have the African grit and the resilience and the passion for the game. If you put those two together, if you get more African teams with that style, with that philosophy, then watch out the rest of the world. But that's a big if right now, because once again, Africa's got me with Hendrick's gin in the morning.
There we go.
What the hell, man?
Yeah, sadly at the moment, all roads lead to the Hendrick's gin for you, Michael. Thank you so much for talking about us. Hopefully, in 4 years' time, it'll be a very different picture. But look, there are still 3 more teams left in the competition, so you never know. But,
listen, Africa's come a long way.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It has come a long way with the lack of resources that it's had.
Yeah.
It has come a long way, and I do not want that to get lost in this conversation.
Yeah.
But again, as the expectation rise, and the belief rises, so does the coaching, so does the tactics, so does the players, so does the fan bases, so does the infrastructure.
Yeah.
And that is a conversation here that we can have, thankfully, because of the growth of African football, and we want to see it continue to grow.
Yeah, unless we forget, DR Congo walk off that pitch thinking, man, on another day we'd have had England. I mean, that would have seemed a ridiculous thought 4 or 5 years ago. So yes, I take your points totally, Michael. And as football fans, we want the success here and now. But
Mark, listen, growing up in an African household, and I'll end with this because I know we got to go to break. Growing up in an African household, if buts, maybes, that doesn't fly with African parents. It's either you either did it or you didn't. And if you don't come home with the trophy, I'm sorry. There is no, we don't play for second.
Yeah.
So there's no consolidatory. There's no participation trophies here. There's only growth.
True. Ifs and buts do fly with English parents. Maybe that's why we never win. There we are. Michael, pleasure. Thanks for talking to us. You're watching the S-Word, sponsored by Calci.
The daily deep dive into the world of football. The S-Word from talkSPORT.
S-Word. Get your full-on football fix from across the football galaxy. The S-Word from talkSPORT.
Hello, welcome back to the S-Word with myself, Marcus Speller, in for Will Gavin, and of course the magnificent Master Tesfacian. Loads of you get in touch with us on our YouTube comments section. Remember, 7 days a week we are live on YouTube, Sirius XM, and available wherever you get your podcasts. Master, we've had a comment here from Video Gaming World 1. Bruno, I assume he means Bruno Fernandes, has been the worst player at the World Cup. The only midfielder who has played well for Portugal is Neves. Hey, someone getting on your bandwagon there,
Completely agree. Joao Neves is the only person on that midfield that has showed up this World Cup tournament. 100% agree with you. 100%.
Yeah. Interesting. Talking of that England backline, Madness85 has said England's best back four is Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back, Harry Maguire in there with Mark Gay, and Miles Lewis-Skelly at left back. Well, Thomas Tuchel only took one of those, so madness. That's surely you're only going to get madder thinking about that situation.
I'll give you Harry. I think Miles Lewis-Skelly would have been great in that midfield, but Trent Alexander-Arnold, he would have been barbecue chicken just like the rest of the right backs in 2011.
I'm glad you're saying that, because I have tried to say this to a few English people, and no doubt will do as the tournament goes on, if indeed England are still a part of it after Mexico on Sunday night for us, or 1 a.m. Monday morning for us as well. Pat Sanders says this: France, my slight favourites to win it now. Who do you think is in pole position right now, Master, to win the World Cup at this early stage?
You'd be foolish not to argue France. Yeah. I mean, what that attacking front three is doing is reminiscent of this kit I'm wearing right now, 2002 Brazil. So it's tough to argue. I do worry about that back line, but the way William Saliba's playing right now, in spite the fact that he's going to need surgery after this World Cup, he has been the unsung hero of that France side, of being able to hold together that questionable back line with a piece of yarn and a bad back. It has been tremendous watching him play in this tournament.
It really has, yeah. I do want France to be tested a little bit more, just to see, because as you say,
I agree.
It does seem like this is not that far off, as you say, Brazil 2002 or Brazil 1970 stuff. They're playing Paraguay. Paraguay surprised at all against Germany.
Paraguay.
So let's keep our fingers crossed for that one. But France could find themselves playing the Morocco side that we were talking in high praise of in the previous section of this show. So you never know. What about the US? If we have a chance to talk about them in a little bit later, but how are you feeling about the US?
Man, everyone is galvanized in this country right now, and truth be told, I think a lot of it has to do with that red card. I have had people calling me that, again, have never talked to me at all about the sport before. Calling me, texting me, hitting me up on IGDMs, talking about how ridiculous of a red card that was. And truth be told, it has been a truly galvanizing moment for this sport in this country, where it doesn't matter if you're a casual or you're a diehard. Everyone is rallying around this moment, and I am excited to see over the coming days, as that anticipation and that excitement continues to build leading up to Monday's match against Belgium, with the chance to make it into the quarterfinals, what this does and continues in terms of this journey of the sport in this country. It has truly been an unbelievable 24 hours coming off of that match, and experiencing the joys and the highs, and seeing the American spirit all across this country, but also in Mexico, Marcus.
Yes.
Because I was on social media. I was on social media, and I spent some time in Guadalajara. I've been to that fan fest. Guadalajara, unbelievable. The best place I've been to in this World Cup, hands down. Guadalajara has been a tremendous experience.
Yeah.
So I've been to that fan fest, and they have had monsoon type of rainfall that just drops randomly. And that fan fest has no cover whatsoever. So as soon as you feel rain, you have to scurry over to go find some cover, because if you don't, it is you'll be stuck like our man here, Steve.
That is biblical rain. Biblical rain.
But that has been happening consistently throughout this World Cup, throughout Guadalajara. So you'd be stuck in this rain if you were not looking for cover. But the issue with the cover is, Marcus, is that you can't see the pit. You can't see the match. Like, half the screen is covered up. You don't get a good angle. It's terrible. So our guy here, Steve, as I saw this video going viral, from the USA Bosnia-Herzegovina match. Our guy Steve with the USA kit on, standing in the rain
What a man.
at that fan fest.
What a man.
In a fan fest that, look, you see that right there. That is usually, literally, it is packed with fans. There is nowhere to walk. There's nowhere to run. You are crammed amongst Mexican fans and fans all over the place.
Fantastic.
And he is rolling one deep and went viral as a result of this. And I believe we do have Steve on the show here to talk about this viral moment, because when I saw this, I was galvanized. I was excited. Steve, welcome on to the S word here. Hey, man, listen.
Get him in there. Steve Serrato.
Listen, Steve.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, Steve, as someone that has sat through that Guadalajara rain, take us through that moment. What was going on through your mind? Take us through that moment that we've all seen now that's gone viral.
Oh, it all began like every soccer fan. I was just like, well, I'm going to just go ahead and watch the game, the Guadalajara festival. All of a sudden, clouds go all over the place, and I see people running. I'm like, what's going on? And then at one point, the rain stopped pouring nonstop. And I was like, okay, it might stop like in 5 minutes. Because I'm from Las Vegas, and in Vegas, we don't get rain at all.
Yep.
So 5 minutes rain, that's all we're getting through the whole year. And then I see like the rain nonstop. And at this point, I was like, you know what? Why not just stay here? Like, it makes no sense. Like you say, if I go like to the bar or something, like I'm not gonna see anything. Like I'm not gonna be able to see the screen or anything. And to be honest, like at that point, I was like, whoa, this is like a kid dream. Like playing in the rain, like an adult watching a soccer game. So the best of both worlds. Like I was watching a soccer game under the rain. Like, it was just amazing,
Steve,
to be honest.
I absolutely love that. And are you sure you've not got English blood in you? Because that's the kind of thing that I'm all over this. I'll tell you something. You see, I once had, my friend and I, we were backpacking around South America many moons ago. I had the whole of Ipanema Beach to myself once in Rio de Janeiro. There was a bit of rain in the air, all the locals, you couldn't see them for dust. My mate and I, 2 Englishmen, that's us, lovely old job, straight down to the beach. And it was great. And so I totally understand the sort of the mystique and magic of those moments. But hey, Steve, once you're wet, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? You were through. You might as well have watched the game. I love the fact that you did that. It's brilliant. I mean, has anyone else taken inspiration from you for this? Are the locals now, if they see the rain coming, you think, do you know what? Because of Big Steve, we're going to stay out here.
Yeah, there was maybe like 3 people that got next to me, and this one kid, like he was wearing literally a plastic bag on top of him, and he was like, "Aren't you cold?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but who cares right now?" And then we got inside the plastic bag and stuff, and he said, "Let's hug it out so we can keep the heat inside the bag."
Beautiful.
Yes, but people came to me, like they hugged me and stuff at the end of the day. Like it was amazing.
The World Cup brings people together, Master.
For sure they do. Yeah.
The Guadalajara fans have been tremendous, and I know. What was their reaction from that, and what has been the social media reaction? You saw that clip going viral, literally everywhere, ever since that moment.
Yeah, I mean, social media, like my phone keeps vibrating. Like I muted the phone, like keeps going crazy. Like, I get pops up on Instagram all over the place. But the locals, like they support me a lot. They were like, "Oh, respect to you. Or this is what World Cups do. Like this is what brings everybody together. Like everybody's glad that it happened here in Guadalajara. To be honest."
That's absolutely fantastic. That is. I absolutely love it. Like you're under a plastic bag, watching the game with somebody. I mean, that is it. We know how great the Mexican fans are. We've seen it all. But there you were, repping Las Vegas, incredibly.
He's doing this as American, Marcus. He's doing this for America. Like Steve, Steve, I'm so happy about that. And like, what does it mean for you to embody that fact? Because we've seen all these passionate fans and American fans. Obviously, we've done a lot to break the stereotypes that people have of us. But for you to be one of the kind of leading faces of that and showing the determination, the will, the desire, the celebration you had after Tillman scored that goal where you're flying around, like what does it mean for you to have that moment?
Oh, it means everything, to be honest. Like I was not expecting any of this. I was just another soccer fan, and then like it went viral. I like all the media came to me. They were like, "Hey, I got this picture. Do you want this picture? Do you want this video?" And I was like, "Yeah, let me get everything." And then it's kind of crazy because like I was the only one, and then when it kind of stopped the rain a little bit, like everybody else came out to the plaza and whatever. And then everybody was like, ole, ole, against the USA. And I'm like, fuck, like, I can't really say anything because like it's all of them against me. And then for the first goal, I was celebrating like crazy. I was like, yeah, there you go. This is USA.
Fire. I'm on fire.
Yeah. And that second goal, was that the one that you flew around? Yeah, talk me through that, because is that the one you celebrated by yourself? Was it the second goal or the first goal? Take me through that moment.
That was the first one. That was the first goal, but it was actually outside. So I was like, oh, shit, I need to stop now. But the last one, like, it was already dark. Everybody was already packed in the center. And then, I was all by myself again. And then the free kick, it was amazing.
Oh, Steve,
Marcus, real quick, before we go, what do you hope people can understand about American fans through what you've displayed and what other American fans have displayed in this World Cup? What is the message you would love to give to the global world in terms of how much we care about the sport?
I want the world to see, like, in United States, it's not only about football, like the regular football we call football. It's we also watch soccer or football, as they call it in America. But to be honest, just stay there, support your team. It's not that hard, to be honest, and be proud of your colors forever.
Marvellous. Steve, thank you.
My
so
boy,
much for joining
there
us.
we go. We're going to beat Belgium, baby. We're going to beat Belgium, baby. We're going to the quarterfinals. Come on.
He's an American hero.
Come on, there it is. There it is. Yeah. USA. Hang that shirt up. Hang that shirt up in the U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame, baby. Beautiful. That is right there. That is a piece of history right there.
Oh, Steve, thank you so much for joining us.
Come on.
I tell you what, I don't know what the equivalent is in America, but if he was here, he would be up for a King's OBE or a knighthood or something for services to the beautiful game. Marvellous. That's all from us today on the S Word. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun.
Marcus, you've been man of the match, man.
God bless you.
What you performed over 90 minutes here, man. A very impressive performance, and I hope we get to work together again.
Oh, that's very kind of you. I appreciate that, Master. Likewise. A little bit like England at DR Congo. A shaky start, but I got there in the end. We got there.
You made your adjustments, and guess what? You're walking away like Harry Kane, baby. Maybe you'll be the one that saves me.
Well, let's hope I'm not limping away like Declan Rice. The show will be back same time tomorrow with plenty more where this all came from.
Can you play right back?
I wherever you want, wherever my country needs me. Don't forget to follow us on socials at talkSPORT World. You're watching the S Word. Thank you so much, Master. Absolute pleasure, my good man. The S Word, of course, sponsored by Calci.
Around here, we only use the F word.
talkSPORT presents
the S Word.